guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is really a rough, impromptu, uncut, uncensored, unscripted video type of thing. I've been working on the politics of H.P. Lovecraft, that video, but it's without a doubt the most intensive video I've ever done regarding research and everything, and due to the nature of the topic, politics. You have to have your shit in order, man. You gotta have everything. You gotta be very careful with your words and things like that. Not censorship kind of way, but you want to be exact. So it's taking a while, and it's a very academic video. So I felt like that's gonna take a while to do. Let's just discuss this book. It's not like a book review, but it is an autobiography in letters. Lord of the Visible World. I don't know why they chose that title, but this makes sense because this book is almost all just Lovecraft's letters. And the purpose of the book is to outline his life, from birth to death, and just his thoughts, reflections in between. So, just look at the contents page. It's like starting out his childhood, adolescence, starting out writing, marriage, romancing with Sonia Green, travels, philosophical developments, but then it also takes like a look at some everyday kind of things, not always just heavy stuff. Well, heavy in the sense that dieting. Lovecraft got chunky. When he was with Sonia, she was a very good cook, so he ate well. Just like the times he got robbed, talking about dieting when he was job hunting for like a normal job, to pay the bills. So it can go from like heavy topics like, what do we got here? Aryan supremacy, his views on that, and early philosophical views. Let's see, what else we got? Supporting Hitler. That's a spicy one. And then it moves on to like little easy things, just like reflecting on Jews and foreign. Hey, Lovecraft was a spicy guy, okay, we'll get to that. But then it goes from like these heavy topics to just like his travels, what he was like with his friends, daily life. It even just says here, cats, travels, going on a diet, the time he got robbed. These little things that build up a picture of a person. So what's the point of this video? I just want to go over some quotes that reflect what kind of person Lovecraft was on a day-to-day kind of level. His views about life, that type of thing. All unscripted. I'm just sitting here. It's a nice day in fucking Innsmouth, as I call this country. It's still warm. That's good. Wearing shorts. That's good. I got some special pineapple juice. You have to excuse my nail. It's all damaged from work. But I got some special pineapple juice, so, salute. Let's have a drink and discuss Lovecraft. Let's just start here. On his trip to New York, he really did not like it. He said, America has lost New York to the mongrels. So he was going there expecting it would be kind of like a New England kind of vibe, maybe some tolerance of it being a little bit more of a big city kind of thing, and he just did not really like this place at all. His initial landing in New York, he loved it, but there you see, he says here, as time passes, my selective imagination will form an idealized picture of those things in New York, which were really beautiful, the skyline, sunsets, things like that, and they will stand apart from the Babylonish squalor and parvenu garishness of a dead city. So, it really fell out of love. That rings with me, because when I came to Zurich, there's Zurich, I thought it was amazing, and then it quickly turned to shit for me, and I can't wait to go to Spain, And then he speaks of his travels, going back, when he was leaving New York, he's going back to home. He's going back home where he belongs. Providence, and the way he speaks about it, intoxication followed, as he's going on the train. as he is approaching it, just like the language he uses. He calls it holy ground, providence, and it's noted here, in the handwritten letter, this word is printed in letters nearly an inch high. There's no other place for me. My world is providence. Then followed a resumption of real life, as I had dropped it 2 years ago. The life of a settled American gentleman in his ancestral environment. I've always felt that where you are is very, very important. And it has to do with your nature. You can't put an oak tree in the desert. You can't put a cactus in England. It's not going to work. Some people, these naive optimists, will say, oh, make the best of a situation. Yeah, that's true. But you really need to be in the right place to thrive, And this was the case with Lovecraft, very much. Trapped in the wrong place. Fuck those grass is greener fallacy wankers, I have written there. Yes, I really like my pineapple juice. And the tongue flows a little bit, I shall say. So, contented. Why, gentlemen, I am home. Up and down this colonial hill I have walked ever since I could walk at all, and it has always exerted upon me the greatest possible fascination, even though my native part of Angel Street is somewhat farther east. Let no one tell me that Providence is not the most beautiful city in the world. Lovecraft, I'm sorry, my friend, but you never were in Madrid. Sorry. It's Madrid for me. I'm joking. I understand very much the sentiment, where you belong is so important. He continues to write here, it's astonishing how much better the old head works since its restoration to those native scenes amidst which it belongs. As my exile progressed, even reading and writing became relatively slow and formidable processes, so that my epistles, were exceedingly brief and labored efforts. Well, this is also why I've been really stagnating. I've written here, my problem, my head is so often clouded, I can't think or breathe here. That's how I feel, man, being in Zurich, but I will make my escape, I swear it. And then comes his famous quote, not infamous. I am Providence, and Providence is myself, together indissolubly as one. We stand through the ages, a fixed monument set eternally, I love the spelling, in the shadow of Durfey's ice-clad peak. I don't know who that refers to. That just came to, this is really summarizes one of his characteristics, but let's go on. Let's not dwell. I want to go through a bunch of stuff. There's some quotes about his marriage, some letters about his marriage. That's its own video one day. And he's talk about divorce. Divorce is a political issue, and my video is socio-political views of Lovecraft, so I include a bit there, but I think, this is like its own thing. The only quote that really stuck with me here, which reflects about his character, I've written here, fucking me, sad face crying, is that after all, when a guy has been secluded and set in his ways bachelor for 33.5 years, as I had been, when I risked the plunge in 1924, that was going to New York City, I believe, the chances are that he won't take kindly to any radical domestic change. So oil returns to oil and water to water. He takes a very stoic approach to his split with Sonia. As for myself, this is basically reason number 2 why I ended. I was engaged. I had a Sonia Green. I was engaged. I never married. Daily life. Some of these in the brackets, parentheses. I don't know how you say it. Brackets is what we learned in school. Some of Lovecraft's most engaging letters are those in which he discusses in minute detail and with self-depreciating humor the details of his daily life. I find that interesting as well, man. Meanwhile, I think you ought to learn to live on less money. For a writer, is never likely to be very well fixed, and the sooner he gets his regimen scaled down to the actualities, the more comfortable he is. It can be done, for I have done it myself. Up to 1910 or 1915, there was no one more recklessly careless of expenditures than I, even though the big collapse in family fortunes had come as far back as 1904. That was when his grandfather died. His grandfather was, loaded, and then he died, and then the money dried up. So he speaks about he had like an inheritance and things like this, but times were hard all his life, and it just got harder and harder and harder. Today I get along with a maximum expense of $15 per week, and I worked it out that counts as $303 in today's money, not counting the reckless antiquarian trips to which I irresponsibly blow myself about once a year. All right, kids, calm down. They spoke differently back then, but that's $303 today per week. That does not include. It does include rent, so he had to cover that too. I'd feel damn lucky if I could always be sure of the Hebdomadal 50. I'm embarrassed, guys, but this is raw uncut, so I don't care. 15, which makes the present standard possible. In the course of years, by a system of trial and error, one learns what nourishing and palatable food is cheapest, and what system of clothes choosing is likely to make replacements as far apart as possible. One learns too how to make public libraries serve instead of indiscriminate book buying. Oh shit. Okay, I threw away the Amazon boxes, so I can't show you that. One must have a kitchen alcove and obtain provisions at grocery and delicatessen prices rather than pay cafes and cafeterias the additional price they demand for mere services. For a while, he didn't even have a stove. He ate cold, canned spaghetti and beans and things like that, so not very pleasant. But if one expects to be a man of letters, one has to sacrifice something. And for anybody of reasonably aesthetic, is that how you spell it? No, that's not how you spell it. Aesthetic temperament, the interests and freedoms of imaginative and creative life more than overbalance the advantages of domesticity. Ah, my God. $8 to $10 a week will get a very good-sized room in the best neighborhoods in the smaller cities, and $3 per week sees me fully fed. So that comes down to 60 current dollars. $3. Hey, that's the economy. Shit, never gets cheaper, right? But that's how much it was. $60 a week. I can imagine, even in Switzerland, with $60 a week, yeah, you'd be okay. My dinners cost about 25 cents each, which is about $5. A typical, what does he eat? A quarter pound of veal loaf at a delicatessen. I guess that's like meatloaf. Potato salad, cake for dessert, coffee using condensed milk. And my breakfast lunches, perhaps 10 cents for a couple donuts, cheese, and coffee. Also use Campbell soup, 10 cents per can, and other inexpensive accessories. Now and then one blows oneself. Lovecraft, come on. To a good restaurant gorge. As for clothing, buying plain designs, be careful of them. Don't wear them around the house when you can just as well be wearing any old spare rags. This used to be a Bret Hart shirt where I cut the sleeves off. So yeah, very Lovecraftian style. Favorite dinners: Italian spaghetti, chili con carne, Hungarian goulash. Only twice daily from choice. I have to agree with that. Also, I usually skip breakfast, have a light lunch, and then a big dinner. That's the way I like it. And what does he eat for breakfast? He has cheese, His condensed milk, donuts, things like this. Sleeping and waking is very flexible. I agree, man. Yeah, the ideal is not always what normal people appreciate. Dinner, chili con carne, bread, coffee. Yeah, some pie.
Big pie, little pie. Chocolate pie, vanilla pie. Peanut butter pie.
Very simple eating, you know. I can imagine it was quite cheap back then. So he had like very limited $2 to $3 a week dietary program. As I said, they $44 to $66 a week. I think that's all right. Let's take a quick look at his childhood. You know, this is the idea that Lovecraft was this weedy little kid, you know, shut in, kind of paranoid freak or something like this, but not at all. Apparently, well, let's look at the letters here. He says that his youth was not a wretched one. He basically was a little bit spoiled, but he never took advantage of that, you know. So he wasn't a spoiled kid, but he had anything he wanted. As he says here, you know, he got what he wanted, you know. But the things he wanted, it wasn't like materialistic. He wanted a violin. He wanted a chemistry set. He wanted books, you know. So good things, I think, you know. Let's see what he says here. You know, this idea. Oh yeah, there's one point he had a bunch of guns as well, 22 calibers, and he was a fair shot until his eyesight went. He states here, I had plenty of foes, and this was when was this? His adolescence. You know, like 15, 14, around there. I had plenty of foes, but I don't think even the worst ever called me a sissy. I was, in fact, decidedly pugnacious, having a violent and ungovernable temper, which the passage of years and growing sense of cosmic inevitability of all things is almost totally eradicated. Any affront, especially any reflection on my truthfulness or honor as an 18th century gentleman, roused in me tremendous fury.
You piss me off, I'll open up an $8 billion can of whoop ass and serve it to you, and that's all I got to say about that.
So he was tough, you know. He wasn't always physically tough, but he had that spirit, you know. Being of scant physical strength, I did not fare well in these encounters, though I would never ask for their termination. I thought it disgraceful, even in defeat, not to maintain a wholly you go to hell attitude until the victor ceased pummeling of his own accord. You know, occasionally I won fights, aided by my habit of assuming a dramatically ferocious aspect, frightening to the nervous, the "my God, I'll kill you" stuff. Me, the spirit of youth. Now I'm an old man. When did you write this, though? When was this letter? He always referred to himself as an old man. This letter is probably when he was like 30 or something. There, okay, 43. So now he's an old man at 43. Oh, that's depressing. That's less than 10 years away from me.
I ain't old like you. I ain't old. I ain't old.
As for circuses, my early hatred of crowds, plus my ultra keen sensitiveness to the bad odors of menageries, deterred me from experiences which might have been highly enriching to the imagination. Yeah, so he was strong. He was strong-willed. He was highly intelligent, and he spoke back. He didn't really expect blindly tolerate authority. He always questioned it, that type of thing, you know. But he wasn't like a physically tough guy always. Apparently, he was quite tall. I think like he was like 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", around there or something. Yeah. I believe conduct to be a matter of taste and breeding, with virtue, delicacy, and truthfulness as symbols of gentility. Of my word and honor I was inordinately proud, and would permit no reflections to be cast upon them. I thought ethics too obvious and commonplace to be scientifically discussed, and considered philosophy solely in its relation to truth and beauty. I was, and still am, pagan to the core. He was always basically atheist in a way, but not like atheist isn't like, oh, anything goes, you know, everything's equally invalid. No, not at all. And he always respected pagan beliefs, actually, and he loved Rome, Greece and Rome, but especially Rome. What else can we find out about him? Yes, he speaks about death, actually, not wanting to live. he did have a sort of breakdown, you know, when he lost his home. When his grandfather died, there was no money, not as much, couldn't maintain the lifestyle. He lost his home, and then he reflects about ending it all. You know, why not this word sloth? Why not slough off consciousness altogether? And he reflects on the various methods to go on. And when he came to the idea of just sort of walking into the water and not escaping, but it was like one of the few times where he actually thought about that, because some people say that he was like always depressed and always dark and something, and that he always was thinking about, he carried with him a vial or ampule of cyanide. That's bullshit, man. That's a myth. But at some points in his life he did think about it. So this part I think is interesting. In 1913, so this was when he was 23, I formed the reprehensible habit of picking up cheap magazines like the Argosy to divert my mind from the tedium of reality, you know. And this is how, what did I write? How he found himself, his calling. And he found these magazines, and he decided, wow, these stories are shit, man. I'm going to start writing my own. This is a very important turning point for Lovecraft. Brilliant, basically shit posting. Yeah, because like his first ventures into the literary world was commenting on other people's work and saying like, oh my god, that's bloody shit. And then they gave him some back and forth, and he's like, alright, I'll make my own stories, you know. I composed another satire, flaying all my tormentors in a stinging pentameter. So yeah, it was basically shit posting from a different generation on the Jews and foreigners.
¿Ah, sí? Pues mira lo que tengo. ¡Hi, Hitler!
So, well, there's a lot of notes I wrote there. You don't get to see that. I'm not being a sensitive guy here or anything. That's for the politics video, so, that's going to be, look at all the notes. Spicy. Alright. Moving on.